Well, hello there, Chick Chat. We are back with Teen Mom, episode 14.
Hey.
At least in our season. I don't go off the AB thing, but
it is probably episode 30 something, I would guess. But
we don't play these games. I don't do AB seasons. We just do new seasons.
Yes, agreed. So this is a really exciting episode, though. I'm just happy to see this. I think that this is what a lot of us have been waiting for, is for these kids to turn 16. Obviously, not all of them are together in this episode, but we do get Leah and her girls. We get Maci and Benny. And then we get Gary and Leah as well. And then Kate and Ty are coming along for the ride because Carly will also be 16. Mm-hmm. She's just not obviously able to make it. So I think that this is really cool. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I get Amber not being there, but why wasn't Ryan there?
I wrote that in my notes. I completely agree. I think Corey should have been there too.
I can see maybe if he had to work or Ryan. I know he also works right now, but I still feel like
Ryan is filming more regularly. I mean, we just got a confessional. We've never had a confessional with Corey. We just got a confessional with Ryan. He's almost taking over Maci's spot in the show. So I agree. I think Ryan absolutely should have been there, especially just to showcase his 16-year recovery as well. So I think there was just a lot to celebrate, and you're totally right. Ryan was a missing piece in this for sure.
Yeah, I get that Amanda's pretty far along, so maybe they're worried that she could just go into labor. So
I do think they wanted to keep it really exclusive to the OGs.
But he is an OG.
But I don't think they would have wanted Amanda to come.
No, but I mean, she probably wouldn't have traveled anyway. She probably wants to be close to her hospital, whatever her birthing plan is. But I can see that maybe being the reason why Ryan did stay. But I don't know. I just still wish that maybe he would have went for like a day or something.
And then like honorable mention voiceover from Maci,
Zoom call.
Mr. had to come, but he was working and Amanda's pregnant, and that's all.
Well, that's why I don't get why there weren't any interviews or anything. Like, are we getting interviews or something out of this? Because if there was, then maybe Ryan pops in on a Zoom call or something. Hopefully, he was a part of the beginning, and he's still here now.
He's gonna be in that wonderful picture we're gonna see from like 2009 or something.
I feel like he's one of the only original baby daddies, other than Gary and Tyler, that are still here now.
I mean, Corey's around, but again, he's just not part of the show.
He's there for drop-offs and homecoming.
And apparently having boyfriends over, we're going to find out.
Looks like they're confronting each other at the drop-off.
I think there will be a confrontation. So that is still to come this season, but we'll cover that at the end.
It's going to be a very special episode for you Chick Chatters because we got a little Janelle bit at the end for you guys. A little update on what's going on with her.
A skit, if you will.
A show. It's not improv. It's scripted.
Oh, no. This is scripted by Janelle Evans herself.
Her Twitter X account.
Yes, you're all in for a treat, so strap in. All right. The producers, they originally call Maci, and they give us this little scene with Maci asking if they want to be a part of this, and they list all the people who are coming, and of course, Maci wants to be a part of it because it's really cool. It's nice to celebrate all of them. So they hop on this call. Gary reassures everybody that Amber will not be coming because nobody wants to deal with that right now. The whole situation is a mess.
Didn't you feel like the initial phone call to Maci was a little strange? She answers and they're like, Maci DeShane Bacall McKinney.
For some reason, I thought that was Ryan calling her.
I think it's just because we only see Maci scenes when her and Ryan are communicating or when something's going on with Ryan or whatever. Yeah. So that's just kind of our first go-to.
That is true. Yeah, they all agree that it's going to be a fun time. They decide that they should take the kids to do something because they wouldn't be where they're at without them. So they definitely want to celebrate them in this whole process. So we'll see what they come up with.
Oh, yeah.
We do, speaking of we do pop over to Tyler and Catelyn's house for a little bit before they come to New York. Ty seems pretty glum in this little scene. He's walking in. You can tell he's irritated. Kate's just sitting on her computer. He's like, well, we have a lot of packing to do. You can tell he's upset about what's happening or the lack of, I guess, Carly participating in this.
I think he's a little hurt with everything that's going on, but he was so relatable when she was talking about kids that are going to be 16. How does that feel? We were just 16 and now they're 16. And he's like, it's disturbing.
It's disgusting. Yeah. I couldn't even entertain the thought.
It is a little strange, especially for them because they don't see Carly as often. So for them, seeing these kids age up is almost bittersweet. Not only are they kind of seeing where Carly might be, or wondering what she might be like at this age, because it sounds like they haven't seen her since she was 14 or 13 or something.
It's been several years at this point. So yeah, I think 14, you're right.
And on top of that, she's not there to be a part of it. No one ever thought that there'd be a 16-year out special or anything, but
right.
I don't know. Their adoption story comes up a lot during this episode, and yeah, it's just sad.
It is. It definitely is. I mean, it's also something that they have to accept, and I think that they have done a lot of accepting and doing. I think the show just kind of, keeps reopening that wound for television purposes.
Well, they kind of do too. I mean, they've had a few podcast episodes lately that have revolved around it, and they've been online. I feel like I see more of them social media talking about it than on the show almost.
Yeah. Well, they're not covered
they're
all that much on the show anymore, and when they are, they're talking about adoption, and now they do have a different platform to talk about adoption, so we're not, sucking it up like we were so much before because we have hours and hours of that content now, which I'm not complaining about. I'm really enjoying their podcast, but I think it does kind of decay my excitement for them on the show.
They have had a few interesting podcast episodes where I've learned new things.
That's what I really enjoy their podcast. It's just the more that I enjoy their podcast, I think the less that I care about what's on Teen Mom with them.
True.
I think is how this show is going in general, really. I mean, that was the issue with Kale a lot. I mean, Maci didn't really hit the podcast mark like everyone else, but she has TTM.
Forever
and ever.
And that's what matters.
That is what matters. Those are the things that matter. So Gary and Leah arrive in New York, and I just thought this was great.
Gary really hasn't aged too much. He's always just looked 40.
I think he's become more handsome as he's become 40 because now you expect him to look 40.
True.
Instead of when he was 20, he looked 40. He looks good now. I think he's lost weight he's the same size in his body than he was when he was buying that Walmart wedding ring, except he looks better bald. I don't know. He's grown up as a dad.
I don't know what's going on with him. It might be the vegetables at home because when he was out here, he was eating good. Them pizza. He had the whole table.
I know. Oh man. They're probably never going to New York, and it probably is really delicious. So speaking of pizza, we do go to get pizza with Leah. That was her idea while they were on the way, and while they're eating this whole table full of pizza and garlic knots, which I would have got all those things too. All the cheeses and margarita.
New York pizza hits, I hear.
It looked good. Looked real good. Leah brings up Amber's recent activities, and I don't even know if they truly covered on the show all of the activities because I don't know exactly where we're at in time when it comes to this, but I do know around this time, or at least recently, Amber has made some accusations even about Gary. Not just saying that Gary is not a good dad, but about things that Gary has done to her back in the day. So I don't know if Leah has seen all of that yet, or if there's still more to come for Leah, but she has had enough at this point either way. She does not want to see that woman.
I hope not, but this really is close to that time period because this is close to Christmas, and I know it was right around New Year's-ish that Amber popped off about that kind of thing. And
it was. Oh, you're right, it was.
And Leah does seem pretty mad. I mean, Amber's popped off on live before, and although Leah has always distanced herself from Amber, it seems like for the past several years, almost more and more. But I don't know. I feel like that was a hard one to not see at the time.
I know.
Have your mom blasting everything. And then remember, just an episode or two ago, didn't Bubby just tell her to just take a chill pill, relax and everything?
Yeah, that's what everybody's telling her. Her mom told her when they went to their weekly lunch last week to just chill out. And it's not like Leah's cutting off all of Amber's family. And I think that that's a good sign. She's still maintaining relationships with people around Amber. She just can't deal with Amber. You can't blame her. If Amber could just take a step back and think rationally like her therapist tells her to, then I think she probably could recognize she's done the same thing with her mom. She's repeating the same pattern. And you know what? She probably feels a lot of guilt around that because I'm sure she didn't want to do that. But that is the reality, and you have to accept it and move on to heal things. I don't understand why Amber can't wrap her head around it. I think Leah's trying to figure that out. And in the process, Leah takes some accountability for her own choices and her own emotions, which I think is really bold and strong at her age. She says, I think I need to just send her a text message and say, it's not my dad, it's me that's choosing not to have this contact, because she has been going hard at Gary for a long time. And I think it probably really hurts her feelings to hear all this stuff online.
You know, Amber really may not truly watch the show if she doesn't know that Gary has been begging Leah to see Amber at least on camera. You know?
Yeah, either that or, Leah brings up the point too. Seems pretty pissed off at this point. And she's like, I don't know if it's her mental illness or what. I think sometimes Amber might see these things, but it's easy for her to just choose not to believe them or to make up some kind of assumptions. I think a lot of us live more rooted in reality than Amber does.
It's never came, I think, directly from Leah.
Yeah. Yeah. So she says she's going to send her a text message. And we do see in the previews that she is going to do that. So I'm going to strap in for that because Amber's going to be on camera when she receives that message.
We go over to Catelynn, who's talking about how when she arrived to New York for the first time, everything was just crazy. It would be, especially for all these teenagers from these rural areas that probably haven't seen much of big cities before. I know Chattanooga's not very far from like Nashville, but I mean, New York's a big city. New York is New York.
I am in awe of this picture.
I love it. When it comes to Ryan and the little Sig or whatever he's got going on in there.
A Sig or a sucker, we can't really tell.
Who knows?
Look at Ty. He looks like Nova.
You look exactly like Nova.
It's just so wild.
And young Catelynn, and it just makes me so sad knowing that, look how little the babies are. She had just given birth, Catelynn, at this point.
I know.
I mean, they all did, but she really, I think, just gave birth not long before it.
So too. He still looks kind of swollen.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
If I remember right, Carly was the youngest from that group of kids, but
I believe so, yes.
I think, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they kind of worked Aleah and Aleah into there because technically Leah was on Teen Mom too, but they were born in that same year, which is true.
Leah and them are probably about a year apart, and we've been watching Leah for 16 plus years as well. She's the only one from Teen Mom 2 left, and you only have a couple of these OGs left. We don't have Farrah no more. We don't have Kale. We don't have Chelsea.
I know.
Janelle. Those are the originals. Imagine though if they had Janelle in the season, they would have had to invite her to this.
I know, and Jace. And Jace would have corrupted all these perfect children. I'm sorry. No offense to Jace. It's all Janelle's fault that he is the way he is. But he totally would have been like, let's sneak out.
Well, at least Bentley would have another boy to talk to. I felt bad.
So true. I know. But Bentley is such a good kid. I just couldn't see him running around New York with Jace.
Maybe Jace wouldn't have been so bad. Maybe Jace would have just been happy to be there, getting stuff on TV, doing things. I don't know.
Possible.
He wouldn't be running off, I don't think.
I went to Las Vegas when I was 16 and I gallivanted in the middle of the night.
It's possible.
And I could have died out there.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah. I was like Jace at 16. So I'm not
I was Jace.
I was Jace. I'm not judging him at all, but I know Jace. And I just know you see little Bentley, who everybody trusts and loves. You'd be like, come on, Bentley, we're going to go for a walk because everybody thinks you're such a good kid. I guess they're going to be out there. And if Bentley won't agree, then Jace will just go by himself. Anyways.
I'll get to the place that they're all staying in. I couldn't tell if this was an Airbnb or if this was kind of like what they do with the reunions where they have separate rooms, but they're all staying in the same common areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't really tell either. I know on Jersey Shore, which we might cover, possibly. On Jersey Shore, they get them kind of different rooms in a hotel, but they rent like a big suite room or something for them to all hang out in. So I don't know if that's maybe what's going on here. But yeah, it seemed like they had somewhere to all gather. They had to have been there at least for a day, maybe two.
Catelynn and Tyler get there. Gary and Leah are there, and Maci and Bentley are. So they're just waiting on Leah. Catelynn decides to be the bold one and call her and ask Leah where she's at. But it sounded like weirdly produced or like scripted Leah's response. Like, hopefully I'll be there for the photo shoot.
Yeah, it made me a little bit scared that they weren't going to show up for some reason. They said that there was a snowstorm or whatever.
I saw the photos, so I was like, you making it, girl.
Yeah.
MTV will make sure.
I mean, they make some small talk for a minute with the kids, ask them if they remember each other, if they've ever been in a photo shoot before. And Gary says some strange thing about passing the baton on to the kids. And I was like, you said it. You said it.
You don't really want to do that, Gary.
Do you know what show you're on, sir?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd be wanting to pass that baton on, but
the title has always included either mom or pregnant. We're not passing the baton to these 16-year-old kids. That's the whole purpose of this show. But anyways, so they all decide if Leah's not going to be here, we should probably go to bed because they have their big photo shoot tomorrow. But Kate asks Maci to go get a drink at the little hotel bar.
And they do. Maci, you don't got to convince her too long to go get a drink down at the hotel bar.
No, but this woman is drinking Fireball on the rocks.
You know,
Fireball on the rocks. Can you believe it?
Well, maybe the beer's not as much, tolerance is building. So
I guess, but I
might
mean,
be evolving.
out of all the liquors in the world,
I know. Like you might as well just do the cinnamon challenge.
honestly, just stir up some vodka and cinnamon, glug it warm. I mean, that's what Fireball honestly tastes like, anyways. So they discuss if they've heard from Amber or not, which obviously not is the answer to that. And they both kind of wonder amongst each other why Amber's not here, and they assume that it's probably because Leah doesn't want her there.
I think they know that Leah doesn't want her there.
I think they know, but I don't think they've heard that.
Oh, like from MTV or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
anyone's told them directly, but I think they know, like we all know, that everybody except Amber apparently knows that Leah doesn't want to talk to her.
Mm-hmm. And then somehow they get on the adoption thing again, where Kate talks about regretting the family, not the action of the adoption, that she just wishes she would have chose somebody in Michigan, that she had the resources and the usual.
I can see it being stirred up, and Maci did ask, and I thought that that was nice of Maci to check in on her and tell her that you don't have to feel out of place and you're definitely accepted here, and we're happy to have you here, but it must be really hard to see all these kids grown up and know that your kid is just out here somewhere, but not here.
It's got to be really hard. I felt really bad for Catelynn and Tyler. I know why they would want to do it. I mean, they've been there since the start, and I know why they're included. I know why they've always been included because the adoption story is just so different. But I think maybe MTV was hoping the adoption would also be a little bit more open. It's not ever really been open for the most part. A lot of times when we were watching Catelynn and Tyler, we were just watching regular people. We saw their depression and stuff like that, but they didn't have Nova for several years. They were just kind of living, and then they were getting criticized a lot for just being stuck in depression and not doing anything, with school or whatever. So
I agree. I mean, I think it's definitely hard to judge until you've been there. I'm sure they were dealing with a whole lot at that time, but we do see them kind of grapple in this episode with how they feel about Carly being sheltered. It seems like they really feel like they're missing out on these moments that all these other kids are having and having things on film and doing these fun activities and stuff like that. But they also recognize that she's being really shielded from all of this stuff as well. And that's not always fun. It's not always beneficial to have a teenager, a kid on TV. I think they go back and forth throughout the episode. They wish that she was here, but they also understand why she's not. And they aren't sure how they would feel having her around all this too. And it's all just really complicated. There's no good answer here except Carly being happy and healthy.
That throwback scene with April, though, oh my gosh, I was like, yeah, this girl had no support, no money, no nothing. This is just sad. I do think that there needs to be some kind of adoption reform, especially when it sounds like from some of their podcast episodes that there might have been like a monetary exchange between the agency.
There usually is, yeah.
I don't think Catelynn and Tyler get any of that. So it kind of feels weird to have a monetary exchange for a child. It's kind of like almost trafficking in a way. Not saying that.
And I know a lot of these places are nonprofits, so they work off of donations. And I have no idea how Bethany Christian Services works. I do think it's a nonprofit, but I don't know, like you said, if there's a money exchange, whether that's $100 or $1 million, if any of it goes to the people or if all of it is just considered a donation. I do know that in a lot of cases, when women are pregnant and they go to these types of agencies, that the agency will offer, if needed, to provide housing, to provide all their medical assistance, and all of that, I think, just gets paid for by the adoption agency. It's not like reimbursed or anything. So I would guess the whole thing's probably a donation because the birth parents are getting these services or whatever for free. We're taking your kid away from you for free.
Yeah, I wonder how that's set up. If anybody knows,
I think it's definitely all different, but yeah, I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts, where everyone's coming from in terms of that. But yeah, I think definitely the adoption system is yucky. I think the other part of it, though, to kind of put a button on this topic, is I don't think there's ever going to be a healthy adoption system, because at the root of all of this is people making decisions that I think it's not their first choice. So I don't think it's ever going to be healthy. And I think when you do separate families, there's a level of trauma, even if it happened out of a good reason and all the outcomes are good. Like, I think in Carly's case, it seems like she has a wonderful life. It seems like her birth parents are wonderful people. I think that's the optimal outcome, and yet there's still going to be a lot of trauma.
Yeah, unless you truly did not care about your child, but then that means you got a lot of issues.
Then you're April.
There's some other things going on.
I think the whole thing is yucky. I really have been enjoying hearing more of their story and more details about it and about adoption in general on their podcast too. I think that they are really good advocates for it. I think they just are also still really raw and emotional, and they're entitled to that. It's part of their story.
And we are working on covering their podcast. It's just right now we're covering a lot of shows, so we're just trying to find.
Yeah, I think probably once this season is over, we're also covering Gypsy Rose right now, which is coming to a close here pretty soon. But on top of that, Sister Wives just started back up. So if you like any of those shows, we are covering all 3 of them right now, and it's just been a lot. We only film 1 day a week, so we're cramming them all in. So we do want to definitely start talking about Kate and Ty's podcast, but that will probably be in the next month or so, to be realistic.
Touche.
Anyways, finally, Gracie and Aleah show up, and I think this is the day of the photo shoot. I didn't realize that nobody's ever met the twins.
Well, if you think about it, they were on all the Teen Mom 2 reunions, and most of these people here are the OGs besides Leah. So,
because I know when the producer called Maci early on, she said something about, well, they were born in the same year, so they're going to be included too. I guess in my head, I realized that was because Leah was on Teen Mom 2, but I just thought that they would have all met each other by now. So I was shocked. I had to rewind it a couple of times and be like, are they saying they've never met these girls?
Are they actually born in the same year? I thought they were just born in the same era is what they said.
She said technically they're the same generation and were born in the same year. I mean, I don't know if she was just trying to be loose about it or not.
The girlies are picking out their outfits and everybody's all amazed by the set. It has the old photos.
Look at little Leah.
The old photos and flashbacks were just so much nostalgia for me. I swear.
It really, really was. The way that they used to do these little scrapbook pages, they were so cute, but yeah.
It was so Juno.
It was, yeah. Fresh. I mean, the parents sit back sort of like Dance Mom style and let their kids just go at this photo shoot.
And Leah looks great.
I know. She looks so good. And she's all over here in her strict mom era, taking care of my girls as independent women. Don't need no little boyfriend coming over for the weekend.
All that girl needs is a whip with them boots.
Look at even Tyler was scared. A little boyfriend.
She got boyfriends? Basically, Leah's saying that she has to give her girls the space to date, but at the same time, she doesn't want them to repeat history like getting pregnant. And I think her girls are smarter than that. I think, honestly, if you're going to have them hang out, I'd rather have them hang out under my nose than trying to hang out randomly. Because if you don't let them hang out somewhere, eventually school's not going to be enough and they're going to be lying about where they're going so they can meet up.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think that there's a balance of being really rigid and not allowing any interaction, and also being really flexible and allowing a lot of interaction. My mom was really flexible, and I definitely took advantage of that as a kid. I'm not saying all kids would do that, but I mean, you're a teenager in a house with a boy, and if you ever end up in the opportunity to be alone, even if an emergency happens, it can happen so quickly if you're feeling like you're ready and you're just waiting for the moment. So I think there's a lot of risk there, but I also think, like you said, it can just cause them to go out of their way to find a way. And that
because it don't matter where you are when you're a teenager. I mean, I've been in some weird places.
Totally outside and in different places, and I would never do that now as an adult. Oh my god.
You know, the teenage mind is different. They're a lot more flexible. They also have a higher immune system. If I was Leah, I wouldn't let the boyfriend come over all the time, but maybe every once in a while he comes over for dinner, like a movie, but you're around or there if that's what you want to. You don't have to leave them alone.
Right.
No
totally
door.
There's an emergency. Y'all are coming in the ambulance too. It's not happening. That's what I would be really rigid about, is that under no circumstances are you alone if you're going to be in my house. That's what I'd be real rigid about.
I never usually have my boyfriends over because my parents wouldn't allow the door to be closed, or my room was on the bottom level, so people were always probably walking by. Yeah, it just wasn't ideal for me.
Remember, I used to go to one boyfriend's house and we had to, stay on the couch and in the living room and stuff, but we could be under a blanket, and terrible things happen under a blanket. The only rule if we were in the blanket was that one hand and one foot had to be out of the blanket at all times. And that did not prevent nothing. It was like a weird joke between all of us because we'd be snuggled up with each other, just suctioned in. And then she'd walk by in the living room and we'd pull our hand and foot out. So weird, but that was her stupid rule. And she would get legitimately mad. Rest in peace, because this woman has passed away and she's a wonderful lady. She would get legitimately mad at us if our hand and foot each wasn't out of this blanket. And we could still be doing all kinds of hanky-pankies.
Yeah, no, you only need one hand.
You got a whole other hand.
You don't even need a foot. I would have just said both hands out, not a hand and a foot. Because what do you need the foot for?
I don't know what kind of weird kinky stuff she was into, but they just go through a montage at this point of getting ready and prepping for the photo shoot. All the girls gather together and look at their clothes. Leah and Gracie both have rings that are pretty similar, so they share their stories of their rings with each other, which is pretty cute.
That was precious. And they also complimented Allie's hair, which really was great.
It was great.
And I loved Bentley. They show him a rack of clothes and he just grabs the first hoodie and he's like, I like this one.
I like this one. She goes, you're a hoodie guy. He's done. He's snuggled up. He's ready for photo time.
The man is Ryan. It's just so Ryan. Any scene of this that I saw of Bentley, he's just chilling, observing, just being a teenage guy. He doesn't have anything to talk to these girls about. I don't know why the boy didn't have a Switch or something he could have been playing.
It seems like he brought to the hotel some kind of gaming system for there, but it seemed like a whole system. So I don't think he probably could bring it to the photo shoot. But in the absence of having games, teenagers will sometimes talk to people. So he sits down with Tyler and Gary, and they just go through a couple of life updates, which I thought was nice to hear some of these things, because I didn't realize for Tyler, we saw that whole setup with Butch before of him inviting him over to visit and saying he's going to pay for everything and whatever. And I guess Butch ended up never coming, which I'm not surprised about, but I just didn't really know what ended up happening with that. And Gary brought up it's probably frustrating to keep asking about all of these things because then you get burnt out from trying to reach out. And he says that that's kind of what Leah has gone through, and the point that Leah is at right now with Amber, that she just doesn't want to reach out anymore.
Gary also asks about Carly, and Tyler says he doesn't really know where they're at, just that they're blocked and they can't have any communication right now. And Gary's asking if there's anything they might have done or said that could have maybe triggered that response, if it might be Carly, if it's Brandon and Teresa, and Tyler doesn't have any answers. But I kind of agree with Gary a little bit because he relates it to Leah, where Leah sees Amber talking about him and it just rubs her the wrong way. And there's just some things that even if she's talking about Leah or her relationship with Leah or kind of talking it up, like she always does, like, Boo Boo are fine. Like I saw Boo Boo recently. I see her more than that. Like, you know, the story she spins. So I'm sure those are hard for Leah, who knows the truth about what's going on in her own relationship with her mother. And I think maybe you can relate that in a different way to Carly and Brandon and Teresa, where Catelynn and Tyler have this big platform. So I know what they're saying with they want to keep it known that they're trying. She needs to know that they're trying. And if she even thinks about trying to figure out if Catelynn and Tyler were trying, she would find out within 5 minutes. She has the resources. She's not a regular adopted kid who doesn't have a TV show to go to see if their parents were trying. So they don't have to do all the extra. But I feel like because they don't have that answer from Brandon and Teresa, that they'll never stop doing this publicly because they don't have anything to latch on to. Had they been given an answer in any way, I think, whether it was through Dawn or through Brandon and Teresa, where it's just a basic, this is Carly or this is us or whatever reason they wanted to give for putting a pause, whether it's really hard on us right now, so maybe in a few months we can discuss or whatever. If they would have just given them that, I think that this would have turned out very differently as well, because I think this is more of a lash out because now they feel like their back's against the wall. Like they've said over and over again, it's almost like they're reliving the trauma of giving the child up. And now that they're cut off contact, this is their biggest nightmare. I don't know. I can see where Brandon and Teresa and Carly might be feeling like they want to break, even possibly Carly. Yeah. That preview kind of looked a little intense to me.
Spooky. Yeah. No, but I totally get that. I think even in a positive way, Kate was sending a lot of photos, a lot of family updates, which is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And even if Carly appreciates those, it could still be hurtful for her to see that all the time. She could still be struggling with those emotions and she could feel guilty about missing them. There's just so many things that could be going on. And the only thing that Kate and Ty are certain of, and they're open about this, is that they don't know what's going on. And I think that they're not accepting that a large part of the possibility could be that Carly is asking for this time. I know that they consider it really often and openly, but I don't think that they accept that that could really be a big reason. And even if that could be this much of the reason, I think that that's enough for them to try to be more mindful. I'm not bashing them. I think they're in an impossible position, but it's just really tough. It's just really tough. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And so I just feel for them.
It's sad because they were kids when they made this decision. So I'm always going to feel for them that they didn't have the resources. They might have wanted to parent if they had the right resources. Who knows? There was no help for these kids. It seems like they only met these people once or twice, and then here's my baby. It doesn't seem like a lot was put into that. Like you said, it's an impossible situation to be in, but they're also very public already as it is. So I don't think going above and beyond is super helpful towards them, if I'm being honest, because Carly wants to find this information. She can easily find it.
Right. If they were normal people, they would have to go above and beyond to get this message out. But they're not normal people. I think they could do one interview at People Magazine, have it be an exclusive, and Carly could literally Google her birth parents at any time, and that would probably be one of the first 5 things that pops up all the time.
They could just talk about it on the show even. Just
they have a pod, right. They have their own platform, but and I like the way they're using their platform. It's not like they're taking hours and hours to just beg for Carly to talk to them. They're talking to experts, they're talking to other adoptees. They're certainly relating and talking about their story, but it's not directed to Carly by any means. But yeah, I think they could totally use that platform as well, just to express that they're open and they will always be ready to have a relationship with her. And I think they need to kind of leave it at that.
And I wonder if they do get this answer at whatever reunion they're on, because they have chilled out a lot on that. Even when that picture of Carly was surfacing around everywhere, I mean, there's been a few photos and things surfacing. They haven't really said much of anything other than y'all condemn us for this stuff, and here you are circulating.
It actually kind of broke my heart because, I mean, I know a lot of things circulate on social media, especially stories about people that aren't necessarily true. But I've read somewhere that Tyler had known that these videos were up and being live streamed for quite a long time. And he was watching them in private as a way to connect with her and see her. And now that they're publicly online and everyone knows that they're public, they're not live streaming anymore. And it just broke my heart.
That is sad. That makes me so sad for them. Because that must have been like the only thing
like
that
this little special thing that nobody knows, that she can just see her probably once a week or whatever singing, and she looks so happy.
And all because these vlogs want to share her face.
I know. And we just saw her face like a week before that. We just saw her face.
It's gross. I mean, she's private for a reason. If they're going to go through all this because she wants to be private, then just let her be private. That's why we haven't really talked about this too, Chick Chat, is that why circulate that around when and have people going to search it out and everything? Because you're going to. If you haven't heard about it, you're going to want to go look and see.
Totally.
So why give that the platform or the opportunity? A, Brandon and Teresa want, and two, like you just said, Tyler was using this as a way to still connect to Carly. That's ridiculously sad that
I know
this is the situation. Ugh. Thank God she's 16 and not like 10, because that would just...
Well, that kind of adds to your point, the fact that she's 16. We have all been disconnected from Carly, not that any of us are entitled to her whatsoever, but we've all not seen her for 16 years. You guys can't wait 2 more years for her to turn 18, for her to be able to say once and for all, I do or do not want to be involved in media. And let's be real, she's going to say she does not want nothing to do with this, not with her parents, but with this. I would be shocked if she agreed to sit down for an interview for Teen Mom when she turned 18.
Probably not Teen Mom, but she might sit down and
for people, or like a magazine or something. I think she might do that, but I don't think she'd ever choose to involve herself in Teen Mom.
Who's to know? I mean, we truly don't know, but
we literally do not know this girl.
We do not know anything about this girl, but that's why it's just weird for everyone to kind of act like they do. Every situation is different with adoption, and I think the hardest part for Catelynn and Tyler is just not having the answer of why it was closed. I think that's why they were kind of all manic, almost in an investigation, talking to adoptees, talking to all these people. They're trying to find an answer or come to some kind of conclusion on why this is happening, when Brandon and Teresa could just come up with a broad way to tell them something that they can hold on to, even if they don't want to get deep.
Right.
I just feel like that could have been handled better. And then to tell Dawn that she can't tell them, and then let Dawn
she needs an apology. I mean, get real, Teresa. An apology for what? I mean, geez Louise.
Just be adults at this point. Sometimes you don't get apologies.
No, you don't. This is real life. And sorry, you are already in a powerful position where you are, Teresa.
And you're the elder here.
Right. You're the elder. You're the only legal parent of this child that they care and love deeply. So you are already in a power position. Do you truly need someone to just get on their knees even further? Just stop it.
Well, and even if it is Carly and she's struggling with Catelynn and Tyler now, her feelings might change later. So why would you want to almost ruin that relationship with them? Even though I know it hasn't always been the best, but why would you not want to almost even continue with the way it was going? Give them the little bits that they get, or just give them an explanation of some sort. So this way they can feel like there's at least some kind of mutual respect there, because I think that's what's lacking between all these people, is just like the mutual respect of something. They're not having conversations of things that are bothering them. Like, I think Teresa's bothered by sibling stuff, and maybe Carly's bothered by some things, but no one's directly communicating that to Catelynn and Tyler, and I think that's what they desperately want. You're not entitled to all of that, but at least if they got a little something to get them through, like, maybe we'll talk in a few months and touch base and see where we're at, but we just need some time and space because this is a lot for us right now. If they just would have told them that, I think they would have laid off a lot. All Teresa said to her was, we're just taking a break right now. But then Catelynn's like, well, I'm still going to send updates. She could have responded and been like, we're actually not wanting the updates right now. We're just going to put a pause on this for a few months. Because, it just got weird after that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the communication really broke down here. I do believe that Dawn probably tried her very best to facilitate the communication here, but you can't facilitate communication with people who are unwilling. And I do think Brandon and Teresa are not willing right now. They don't owe anyone anything, but I do think that emotionally they owe Tyler and Kate a lot. So I just feel bad that they're not involving them even privately, because there have been times where they've privately spoken to Kate and Ty, and Kate and Ty have just come on cameras and said, yes, we've talked about this and we are being told not to mention it on film. And so why can't that just happen right now? And they can have answers, because it's not for us, but I mean, Kate and Ty are just struggling so much. And I think the more that they struggle, the more worse they make it publicly, because they're just spiraling.
It makes me sad for them.
It does.
And,
it really does.
Brandon and Teresa and Carly. I feel like everybody in this situation has gone through something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't think there's an easy solution here. I just think open, direct communication at least helps everyone live in reality and accept reality as quickly as possible. And really, that's how Tyler does kind of end this conversation, is he wishes he knew, because then he could move to a direction on knowing what's going on. But right now, he doesn't know what direction to move in, how to heal, how to accept something that he doesn't know what it is.
It's kind of like if somebody in your family were to go missing or something, you would want that investigated until you figured. It's like not having the answer is worse.
Right. You want some kind of closure,
answer.
Even if it's temporary, even if they say, yeah, we're going to need 6 months or a year. We don't know how long we're going to need, but we need you to stop talking. I think that would help them do something about that grief.
Even if it's what they don't want to hear.
Right. Well, I think that that's why they're avoiding telling Kate and Ty, because it's probably what they don't want to hear. But at the same time, Kate and Ty are adults, and
they're going to just make it worse for themselves.
If you don't. The thing that's making them spiral right now is that they don't know. They can deal with the truth. They have dealt with the truth for 16 years.
Yeah, they're 30, not 16-year-olds anymore. So I don't know. Anyways, moving on to the rest of the reunion.
Well, they give us some of these, cute little pictures. I think they're fresh.
Yeah, it was cute. I just was missing Ryan, Corey, just the rest of them. So
yeah, like Ryan could have definitely been
right there.
Right there.
You could put Corey right there. You could put Ryan over on the other side.
Yeah, you could put.
And how amazing for Bentley would that have been? Like, have a vacation with both of his parents. It probably hasn't happened since that one time when Maci stormed the beach and Dallas was there. Remember?
Yes, I actually just rewatched that probably a month ago. That was good quality television.
That's probably the last vacation that they were ever on together.
Yes. So the girls, Gracie, Aleah, and Leah, these names, they are trying to invade Ryan. They're trying to invade Bentley's couch, and it's not very successful. They all sit down on the couch next to Bentley, but he does not speak to them. And then they all get called off into other places.
Aleah is so funny to me. She tried so much with Bentley. She did that little video thing, and she's chipping away at him. She's getting the clothes and stuff. She's like, I'll work on him. Yeah, we'll try to talk to him later. He's just a boy. And that made me feel so bad. But then I was thinking, I'm like, wow, he really was the only boy on Team Mom OG. And then you really only had, Jason Isaac other than that. So yeah, there wasn't anybody for him. So it was always a lot of girls.
Yeah.
But they tried. It was cute. I thought it would be so cute. You know, Leah's got her little boyfriend, but I think her and Bentley would just be such a good little match because she's so outgoing. I think she would hold Bentley out of the show a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both tall. They just thought they were a little cute.
No, I totally agree. Maybe in the future.
Yeah. Bentley was making eyes, I think, at some of them girls. He was kind of scoping it out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was upset to be there. I think he's just really shy.
Very shy. I loved when Maci talked about him a little bit too. She's like, he's just an observer.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, I love Bentley. He was cute to see in the corners of all the scenes.
I know,
little Ryan.
Then we get to a pretty decent conversation between Kate and Maci and Leah. And I was definitely looking forward to watching this. I was excited that they spoiled it for us a couple days before and released the full entire scene 2 days early. But at the same time, it also just kind of made me less excited to watch it on the show.
Well, when I first watched, I was hoping there might be a little extra, but there wasn't. So
it was every second of the scene.
Every second. And goes up to Leah as Leah's looking for some of the Tootsie Rolls. And she's like, have you talked to your mother? Now let me know how your life is going. Like, it's interrogating this girl. But
honestly, and it's look at the face. When's the last time you seen your mother?
I know maybe Catelynn and Maci don't know this, but she don't even call her mother, so it just kind of weird. Like, you say Amber, or Kung Fu Portwood, or whatever Grace calls her.
Right. And I'm probably just reading too much into it, but it's like Kate's face just looks like she's bracing for such an emotional conversation. She's kind of holding her breath, and she's at the point where she could truly care less. She just does not. There are no tears coming out of her eyes, and that's not because she's Amber's child. That's because she don't care.
Facts. She tells them that she has not seen Amber since they were around. And
she's only called like once.
And she found out she had asthma. I was like, oh my gosh, imagine the dramatics when Amber found out that Leah had asthma. Like,
well, and imagine Leah getting a phone call from her mother for the first time in months. Just after being diagnosed with asthma, the girl probably had a damn asthma attack from her mother calling.
possible. Yeah, Amber probably went through like a 3-day depression over this asthma.
Right. Oh, totally. Yeah. It was definitely Amber's fault, and she feels so guilty now and shameful. So
I wonder if she has asthma. She'll be like, I gave him my asthma.
what did it?
Or maybe Gary has asthma. And she'll be like, it's Gary's fault.
Burning the house down. Leah talks about how she has made the decision that she doesn't really want her mom in her life right now, that she understands that her mom has mental health issues. And we've kind of heard Leah say this before, just not to these two women in particular, but she just can't tolerate her mom coming in and out and in her eyes pretending that she is going to be there and love her, and she just finds the whole thing really fake because she disappears again as soon as the cameras are gone, seemingly. It upsets her, as I think it would upset any child. So Kate kind of relates to her with her mom's situation and says that it took her well into her adult years to talk to her mom about how her mom has affected her and decide for herself what she wants to do with that relationship. Kate commends Leah and says that she's proud of her for protecting her mental health and her peace. And I think it was really important that Kate shared that with Leah, because you could almost see her eyes light up when Kate said that. And she was like, you don't talk to your mom either. And I think it was just nice probably for Leah to hear that somebody that she sees as healthy and well-functioning also has a really bad relationship with their mom.
Yeah, that's why I think it'd be good for her to talk to Jade a little bit, but I know she doesn't really know Jade like that, although she did go to Jade's birthday party, so
She did.
I think Jade would be a
Jade
good
is still
one.
not as healed as Kate is, so I think that could be a more raw conversation potentially. I know Jade probably has enough sense not to be so raw about it, but
yeah, I mean, Kate's got therapists on standby. Remember, see, then that conversation. What do we need to do, Kate? Do we need to get therapists? I thought Maci kept saying we. Like, it's also great support. I love that, but at the same time, I'm like, are you part of her management team or something?
Right.
Like,
like, yes, the verbiage I'm sure is very comforting, but yeah, it's just a little bit intrusive. It's like, I got people. Oh man, I'm sure there's a lot more going on with Kate that she could probably benefit from talking with someone about what's been going on recently with the adoption. But to feel angry is a really natural emotion, especially when you wrote up this whole damn adoption agreement and it's being completely disrespected. And that is what anger tells us. That's the message of anger. Like, someone has violated your boundaries or crossed you or done something wrong. Like, that's natural. As long as she's not freaking out and lashing out, what she's doing a little bit of that. So she needs to go to therapy for that part.
When they showed that clip of her when she was pregnant, begging, all I want is to be able to send gifts at the bare minimum, and now she can't even do that. So yeah, Kate is not okay.
I just kind of wrap up this conversation between the three of them. Kate confirms that she doesn't really have a relationship with her mom, but after about a year and a half of complete cutoff between her and her mom, that she has sort of let her back in a little bit more, but with a lot of boundaries. And she says she doesn't think that she'll ever have a normal, open, emotionally vulnerable relationship with her mom. And Leah agrees with that. And they both say that that's sad.
I think Leah and Bentley almost have similar situations that they could have touched on.
I think so.
To make them kids connect, because Ryan was in and out for a long time. He was only ever seeing him at Mimi and Jen's house, and he's just now getting a relationship with Ryan. I mean, I know it's a little bit different than Amber, who is always on 100, and she's a lot more vulgar than Ryan, I would say, and definitely a little bit more violent, even though Ryan's pretty violent himself.
He can be, yeah.
He can be. I mean, when he's on the stuff, but not now.
Yes. Yes. But speaking of Amber.
Yeah, we do see Amber this episode. They don't touch on anything to do with this Leah stuff, though. This is all about Amber's
mental health, her 4 major mental health disorders.
Yep.
She does convince her mom to go to her child doctor's office to talk to him. So they're going to go over there together and talk about these 4 major mental health issues.
I did pick up on Amber saying that Tanya don't know nothing about her at all, so she commends her for even coming to this appointment. I do think this is a good step for Tanya. I mean, I'm not saying she don't know nothing about Amber, because it does sound like she's the only one relaying things to Amber about the show, so they must talk sometimes, but it seems like they haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
But now they're kind of getting that relationship back, and these damn glasses. Can they just look so damn heavy?
Like, they do. They look heavy. They look honestly just ridiculous on her face.
Down here, like,
I know,
to be like this all the time. Like,
I know, and then they're not all the way up here, you know. So they're just they're huge,
so big. So they have to sit right here. So this way they're like, I just feel like my cheeks would hit it all the time. I don't know.
They are. Look how close. Look at it.
Just makes. I don't know. I just feel like she looks
touching
older.
skin right here. Anyways, Amber doesn't want to have to explain herself to her mom all the time, especially now that her mom is really her biggest support system right now. So I agree. I think that this is a good first step, but I think they might need to do a couple more of these.
Maybe. Tanya and Amber show up to the psychiatrist's office, and they said his name a bunch of times. I was like, are y'all advertising for him?
Or whatever.
I know, I felt like an advertisement almost, but I was like, I don't know about advertising this man. According to Tanya, you've been doing this for 8 years and nothing changed, which is what she confronts the doctor about first thing. She's like, this has been going on for a while. So.
Yeah, and he cuts her off right away. He's like, I know what you're coming in here for. We blaming Amber for this one. He says Amber has taken a lot of breaks from therapy and blah, 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 blah. And I think the other thing too, and I'm sure he explained this to her, and I mean, I'm not an expert on medications or anything like that, but your tolerance to medications change throughout your life. The types of medications that you need, especially psychotropic medications for mental health issues, there is hundreds of medications and nobody knows how they're going to work for you until you put them in your body. And that is horribly dangerous and irresponsible, but that is the way that this works right now. You can go get genetic testing done and things like that to see things that might be terribly bad for you, but it's still, there's no way to really know what's going to work. Like if you walk in and you have anxiety, there's 20 different medications, 16 of which are good to use. And it's like, you might not know until you get to your fifth one that that one is the best one for you. And then you add on top of that, you know, your depression medication, and then that fucks up your anxiety medication. And it's like, it's a constant balance. So I think someone with 4 major mental illnesses is going to be in constant therapy, constant psychiatry, always adjusting their medications, always making sure that their medications aren't interacting in a bad way. I think that that's normal. And I think that that should be explained to her mom.
And the world.
And the world, yes. But I think her mom is over here judging this therapist, judging Amber, more importantly, for not being better. But bipolar is not something that goes away, even with medication. It's just manageable. And that's only one of them. Then she deals with anxiety. Then she deals with, apparently she has borderline personality disorder, which again, I don't know, Amber. I can't do all this with her. But if she's going through all of that, really dealing with all of that, then she's never going to just be a perfect, well-functioning person. She's always going to need support, and she's always going to need medications. And sometimes her medications are going to need to be adjusted.
Yep. So I think it's interesting that she brought many a men in this office before her own mother.
I know. To be fair, it doesn't seem like they have been talking all that much. And they do seem to have a little bit of a complicated relationship. And Tanya does seem to be a little defensive. And so
partners tend to be a little bit more intimate, live with you, and whatever. So
yeah, and they're, I think, more willing sometimes to hear you out, because in this situation in particular, Amber's talking about her childhood, and I think her mom feels like she did everything she could for Amber's childhood, so she's certainly going to defend her actions. Where like a partner can come in and just say like, "Oh, that must have been really hard. How can I help?" Like, there's no reason to feel guilty. You know, it's not like they did it. Whereas I don't think Amber's telling her mom that the trauma is her fault, but because her mom is her mom and was involved in it and didn't protect her from it, I think she feels a lot of guilt. So she just wants to say, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Right. Well, she says that because her mom worked almost like 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day or something. It seemed like her mom was the one that was making the money and her dad was the one that was mainly staying home, mainly because he had issues with either addiction and his health and all these things. So it sounds like Amber did have a pretty rough childhood, but in the same sense, if you think about it, when she's talking about how I just wanted my mom, she was gone all day. Well, you did the same thing to your kid. I really think that Leah's going to break this cycle because she has to. Otherwise, this is just going to be a continual mess. Amber's saying that her mom did the same thing, but at least Amber's mom came home at night. You know, she lived in that house, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem here is if what's really going on, that Amber's mom was working all day and was leaving Amber at home with an alcoholic dad, and that he was yelling and screaming, and that they had to deal with him being an alcoholic. I think that's definite trauma. That's definitely enough to say my childhood was effed up. And I mean, at the same time, I get that she wanted her mom to be there more. It seems like realistically that wasn't really a choice. And yet I can see from Amber's perspective, even though her mom had no choice, that she felt abandoned, not because her mom was at work, but because her mom was not home to protect her from her dad. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, with abusive parents, that the other parent often gets blamed even more so than the abusive parent. Because it's like, why aren't you protecting me? Why aren't you taking us out of this situation? And I think Amber's mom probably didn't realize it was as traumatic of a situation as it was, because she's had her own hard life, and probably didn't have any idea what she was going to do with her kids while she's working all week. So she thought, this is the best I have, right? So it's like everyone's doing the best that they can. But I can totally see how, like, yes, everybody works a lot. And even in this day and age, people are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to survive. But when you're being left with an abusive parent at home, it can feel like your healthy parent is abandoning you.
I can see that. My problem with Amber is that she is acknowledging that she has abandonment issues, but can't even acknowledge that Leah could, even though her abandonment issues is that Amber's not even there at all. And Amber's mom, a little bit in and out, like kind of like in the morning, maybe at night, but she wanted her there to help save her.
Yeah.
It's similar, but she can't even give her
I think
daughter
you're
that
exactly right.
same
Yeah.
she can't give her daughter that acknowledgement, but she wants that acknowledgement from her own mother.
I wish that Leah, and not that I'm upset with Leah for, but I wish that Leah could have been in this room as well, because I think that would have been the perfect time for the therapist to make that same exact point, because the therapist stopped and, kind of leveled with everyone and asked Amber, hey, can you rationally understand how your mom thought she was doing the best she can? And Amber was like, oh yeah, no, I can appreciate that. And I think at that same time, that would have been a great opportunity for him to stop and say, now, can you also rationally see how what you're doing is affecting your daughter in the same exact way? He didn't need Leah in the room to be able to do that. But yeah, I definitely think that that's a missed opportunity as well, because it's not about just victimizing yourself and saying, oh, this is how this happened. And it's great that she has this insight and understanding now. But if you're not figuring out how to apply it to make yourself healthier, which is to fix your relationship with your daughter, then I don't know what we're here talking about.
Exactly. I can see trying to fix the relationship with her mother as well, but the things that you're working on with your own mother, you also can relate that to your own daughter. So I just feel like you should be a little bit more empathetic, a little bit more
You should
rational.
take more accountability. She told her mom, I see that you want to work and I see that you are doing the best you can. And yet your experience does not take away from my experience and my childhood of that being a sucky experience for me. And so same thing, Amber's experience does not take away from Leah's experience in her childhood of that being a sucky experience for Leah.
Mhm.
And yet Amber refuses to validate that, but wants the entire effing world to validate her as a victim.
I think she thinks just because there's money involved in this, because Gary has money, she has money and all that, that Leah's isn't as bad because at least there's
That it's an
money and there's
appropriate exchange.
there's means to provide for her. Unlike where Amber might have been living in more of a rundown house or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't have food all the time or something like that.
I could get
Sure,
that.
but that doesn't make it any less. I don't know. Whatever. You see people suffer from abuse from rich families. It doesn't
Totally.
change
Yeah.
anything.
I do think you're onto something there where Amber sees at least you have this consolation prize of you've been able to support all of us because I'm such a F up. I don't think that that actually justifies anything, but I think in
No.
Amber's mind, she justifies it because at least her daughter's being supported financially.
Yeah, I think in her mind, she almost doesn't even have to pay child support because she's the reason Gary even makes
Yeah.
money.
Well,
Like,
and she's like Kardashian style to tell him, you have everything because of me.
but you had to get knocked up somehow, lady. I'll never understand her, but whatever. Anyways.
They didn't really talk a whole lot about the mental health issues, but I do think that they covered her childhood pretty well and helped each of them gain some insight into what their experiences were like at that time and some empathy for each other. So I think that that's a good thing. Maybe they'll go again. Maybe they won't. I don't know. I don't even know if we're ever going to really see Amber again. I don't know. Sayonara, lady.
Bygones be bygones, lady.
Back to New York. We're going ice skating.
For the birthday, everybody's going to celebrate together. And I was laughing mainly at Tyler. It's just, okay.
And Kate told him seconds before, you're going to bust your ass.
And then he did. And he originally fell like face first, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was fun to watch them go ice skating. And then they have this little lunch where they reminisce. They talk about who's the annoying parent, which everyone knows that's got to be Leah. I mean, it's not even just the Addie asking to go sledding or tubing or whatever, and Leah being all like,
quick
no,
to say no.
It's the PSAs. Y'all know about the PSAs.
Yes.
Let's not all forget about the PSAs.
We've been standing by for those PSAs since the very beginning. So we also hear from Bentley that Maci likes to have an argument once in a while and kind of egg it on, but she does not want to hear any feedback from Vinny about it.
It's just like arguing with Ryan, probably. And who wants to do that?
Honestly.
And then Tyler relates to Leah by talking about how much social media is just prevalent in their generation and how different that is. And then she relates it to Carly, asking if Carly has social media. And they said they don't think so because they're very conservative. But at the same time, she might and they might not know.
It's like Leah didn't really know what to say to that. It's just hard sometimes to know what to say to somebody in those kinds of situations because there's nothing that's going to fix it.
Yeah. Sometimes these conversations about Carly get really awkward, but you kind of want to bring her up though, because she's still a part of this in a way. Yeah. It's just kind of like when someone, I mean, I don't want to say it's kind of like when someone passes, but you still want that person to be brought up because you get to reminisce on them. You get to talk about them. And also with this, she was a part of this, even though she is private. The story of them putting her up for adoption, it's still a huge part of this franchise.
Yeah, I agree. It actually kind of made me a little bit sad for Leah too, because I wonder if they think about Carly. Yeah, not what she might be like her or that they're longing for her or anything, but I just wonder if they think about her because she was part of this too. And I almost wonder if she asked this not in a produced way to start a conversation with Kate and Ty, but I wonder if she was genuinely curious. Like, can I find this girl? Can I look at her?
I didn't think about that, but she might have been like, maybe I can search her up, at least kind of poke around, see what she might look like or what she might be into, because they are all the same age, and she is the only one you don't see ever of all of these kids. So
yeah, I'm sure they're curious about her too.
She's definitely a mystery for everyone right now. These next couple of years are just going to be one big investigation around Carly. I swear you guys are going to be seeing random photos dropping of her all the time. People are really going to keep pushing this issue here until either Brandon and Teresa or Catelynn and Tyler address what's going on. Until there's an answer. So the intrigue is there.
So after ice skating, they visit Times Square together, and there's a giant sign for their birthday and Teen Mom's birthday at Times Square, which I'm sure is probably so cool as a 16-year-old to see that.
It's probably funny for Bentley because his birthday was like months prior, but you know, whatever.
All these kids have celebrated their birthdays this season several times, but especially Bentley. I feel like he's had 6 or 7 different birthdays. He must be so sick of cake.
I think they did it by age, but it's funny that all the girls' names are just like Leah, Aleah,
same
Aleah.
name.
Like, oh my gosh, how many? Is it the same girl a bunch of different times or what?
It is, yeah. They're all Oz. They're all Ias.
Honestly, thank goodness that Leah and those girls were there. They were half of the kids that were there.
Look how cute Leah is.
I liked seeing them all together. This was really nice.
I did too. I thought this episode was amazing. I know that we're kind of gabbing, and this is probably a really long episode. Sorry, guys, and sorry, Anne.
It's going to be even longer. It's going to be a long one, guys. We got a Janelle update later too. So.
Yeah, I just loved this episode. And then we got some flashbacks. So they went to this cute dinner, and they all sat down and talked about their favorite part of the trip and their favorite part of filming for the last 16 years. And they all reflected on a couple of different things that were particularly important to them. Ty talked about obviously having all of his births filmed, which is probably really special for them considering that Carly's not around. And we got to see Bentley say mama for the first time, which I don't remember a lot of this
stuff. Remember that. I remember almost everything that they showed. Yeah.
Well, I definitely remember the peeing part.
I remember Cracker Barrel.
In the Cracker Barrel. The meatloaf! Oh my god.
And I've always worked at Cracker Barrel too. I started working at Cracker Barrel not long after this scene. Right, so whenever I see the meatloaf, I'd be like, meatloaf.
And I guess this was some kind of apology dinner. I don't remember what he was apologizing for this particular time.
She was sad. I remember him saying that too in the scene. He's like, she was sad and meatloaf.
And then he said meatloaf. Yeah. And then the return policy on the Walmart ring that was like $22 and change.
I'm so glad to know that Leah sees some of these scenes. Not the bad ones, but the ones that are funny like this.
Yeah, some of these are hilarious. Totally.
I was like watching the episode and they show these flashbacks. My husband was sitting next to me and I was like, this show just used to hit so good in these early seasons. Like, it was never a dull moment.
I know. I mean, they were 16-year-olds with literal babies. There just was never a dull moment. It really was insane.
The relief of Gary just knowing he's got 90 days on this ring.
Yeah. And I think this was probably his second or third time proposing to her at this point. I mean,
I think this was the first.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, I think this was the first. This is, I think,
the one where he proposed to her. Sparkly one. You're right. Yeah.
Where she was sitting on that bench and he gave her the pink cubic zirconium 4 carat.
Yep.
I think she lost that ring or something too. I don't remember. She has so many. You know how we've seen the compilation, I think, of like Janelle's rings or whatever? I think there's like something like that online. I want to see a compilation of Amber's rings. She's had like she's even had 4 from Gary.
This woman has been proposed to probably more times than I have fingers.
Most of them Gary. Gary won.
And then, yeah, I'm not even gonna get it. I know Matt proposed at least twice.
Everyone since.
That one guy that left her proposed. There's had to have been a couple in between there, even that have been filmed that I'm forgetting about. Anyways, so they reflect on this dinner of the last 16 years and their favorite parts of it and growing up and all of that. And Maci takes the opportunity to give a speech, which I thought was amazing that it wasn't Leah. So she told all the kids that they're all exceptional kids and they're all much more confident and strong and cooler than they all were at this age. And she just tells them to keep it up and not to lose that part of themselves.
There definitely is a different vibe with these kids than when we were 16.
Look at these flashbacks. And like, I wish I had the one of Leah peeing. We were just dumb.
Chaotic.
Yeah.
When we grew up on MTV, Room Raiders, everything, we were just consuming so much chaotic material.
We still
live
are.
Very chaotically. And that's why we're here.
Yes, so true. So they blow out their candles for their 12th birthdays of the year this year. And
I think Bentley's blow reached. All the brick way in the corner there.
They all sat back and all the candles were still lit. So
yeah, they didn't do nothing.
Whatever. But we do get a really big preview for next time. It is 3 episodes to go sort of super preview. So in the next 3 episodes, we will see a gender reveal for Mackenzie. Bree is going to get Nova a baby simulator.
I know. What's provoking that? She don't even got a boyfriend, right? Like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know.
This is for class.
It could be for a class, and maybe they're just trying to hype it up. But yeah, I'm curious about that. Ryan's going to have his baby, and Maci's, of course, going to come over and hold the baby. And Ryan asks Maci if she's done. I thought Maci got her tubes tied or Taylor got snipped or something. I thought we covered this.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that or if it's just the PCOS. I never remember with Maci, honestly.
Right.
But I think they're done, though. I mean, I'm pretty
They're
sure.
definitely done, yes. Bree is getting her tubes removed, so I think we're going to see that within the next 3 episodes. And Jade makes an appearance again from her one appearance all season long to say that she might be pregnant.
I called this stuff. I said the next time we see Jade, she's either going to be pregnant or someone's going to be up with Chrissy. That's the only time we're going to see this lady.
Yeah.
I knew it.
If
I knew
they
it was
pick
coming.
up for a season 3 of this, then I'm sure we'll see her a lot more if she actually is pregnant. But right now, everything is on pause, and we don't know if we're going to get a season 3.
And I said, Sean's been doing good. I think that this is coming, and yep, it's coming.
I think it'd be a great thing for them to have another baby. I think this would be a really healing thing for them too.
Stable, at least. It could show them that at least it can be different this time. Like,
agreed.
Yeah. So,
yes.
anyways.
So we also see that Bar is going to get released from jail, and Ashley kind of blames herself for what's going on. Gracie asks Leah if her little boyfriend can come over to the house for a dinner date. And Leah says absolutely not. And then Gracie informs Leah that her dad lets her little boyfriend come over to his house. So it looks like we might have a little bit of a parenting standoff with that situation. And then we also get kind of a serious looking Dr. Drew visit with Kate and Ty. And he says that he talked to Brandon and Teresa. And he says that Carly might be sending a message in some way. So we'll see the context that's added into that.
And their faces don't look good. So I don't know.
The whole thing looked kind of freaky. Like it looked like they came in this room and Dr. Drew was on the camera. I don't know if this was a producer driven thing or what it was, but it looked like they were bracing themselves.
I would be so annoyed to be Catelynn and Tyler, though. I know in one of their recent podcast episodes, they said Brandon and Teresa don't do anything unless they're getting paid for it when it comes to Carly in these ways, okay? And I would just be so annoyed that they can't tell me, but they can tell Dr. Drew to tell me.
Yeah.
Or they can't even let Dawn tell me, but they can have Dr. Drew come on here and tell me in front of all these people first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just feel like that's so weird.
I completely agree. And I highly doubt that this happened. But I mean, with you saying that, it makes me wonder, especially because Dr. Drew talked and he's a TV personality. He's not the teen mom therapist. So I wonder if they filmed it. I wonder if they were paid in some way. Even if it wasn't televised, maybe they filmed it as an interview to be released at some date.
Or he just sat down with them and interviewed them and they didn't film it, but
they paid them for the information so that it could be filmed on Teen Mom and told to Kate and Ty. That's probably...
That would upset me. I'm not going to lie. Because
that's really upsetting. No, I completely agree. I think that that's taking advantage of the power that they already have.
Yeah, and they've been begging for this answer for how long, and Dawn's even told them that she can't tell them things. Just let the being counselor that they already work with your adoption tell them what's going on with their adoption. Why have Dr. Drew do it so publicly?
Right. And then Kate and Ty can decide if they want to talk about that on
and
camera.
Who knows if they were blindsided by that or not.
Yeah. Well, they looked like they were bracing themselves, so I'm sure they kind of were. But finally, we also get that text to Amber from Leah that takes accountability, responsibility for her choice to not be in the relationship and kind of says, back off my daddy. It's my choice.
And how weird of her to text her mother. Amber's like, what? Why would Leah text me? And it's like, yeah, Amber, why would your own child text you?
I know. And you would think with how crazy Amber has been lately about Leah that she would be hopping up. Oh my God, Leah texted me. But she looked bothered. But I'm sure realistically, Amber was probably sitting there like, why are these MTV cameras filming me at my house for the 4th time? We've already decided, I've already filmed at my house. So she probably was putting it all together there. Oh, the cameras are here to watch me receive this message.
Possible. I just thought it was a weird response. Honestly.
She looked mad. She looked pissed. And so that's why I was trying to figure that. Like, why would you be pissed that your daughter's texting you unless you feel like you're being set up?
Possible. I guess we're going to have to watch the scene to really feel that out.
I guess we're going to have to stick around for 3 more episodes, y'all.
But a nice little bonus for you guys. So we got a little bit of Janelle tea. Well, really, it's the Teen Mom pages that posted on this days ago, but we just thought it was so fun that we just want to put on a little show for you. Janelle's been going back and forth online with, is it Kenley? David's girlfriend or whatever?
That sounds right.
I'm not exactly sure what sparked this, but I do know there's been a lot of court stuff going on between David and Janelle. They've been fighting over custody of Ensley and the divorce and all these things. There seems to be a lot of animosity there. And Janelle, you don't really got to provoke Janelle for her to do some shitty on the internet.
Very true.
But this was a masterpiece, I will say. I chuckled. We thought of you guys, so we figured, we're going to do this little Twitter back and forth.
So without further ado, who do you want to play?
I think I'll have to be Janelle.
Okay. I don't really have a preference, so I'm down to be Kinley.
I'm just problematic, I think.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more petty, so I think we're in our appropriate roles.
Well, I hope this isn't my appropriate role in life.
In a past life, possibly.
I don't really understand what sparked this other than Janelle just doing this at random. This is a back and forth between Janelle and Kenley, and I hope to see more in the future.
Me too. And we'll be here to act them out for you.
So on 4/24, which was about a week ago from when we're filming this, Janelle writes, she's wearing a lot of dresses lately. I'm calling it. She's probably pregnant. Good luck with that.
And Kinley responds on the same day, about 12 hours later, and says, want to know why I wear dresses? I don't sell butthole pictures. I work a normal job that requires you to dress nice, thank God. So then she also posts the quote, she's pregnant, and she gives us this little meme from The Office, which we all know and love.
Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Nope. And then she goes on to say, I had a restraining order on someone once and I never spoke about them. Shocking. I actually wanted nothing to do with them or their girlfriends. What a phenomenon.
Kinley really did not like that dress thing.
She didn't. She was triggered. She did not want anyone to think that she was pregnant or that this girl, Janelle, could just hop online and say whatever she wanted about her. So then she also posts a picture of somebody inside of somebody's brain. And she says, I don't even pay rent. I live rent free. Kind of quoting that.
Is that Kanye phrase. In the person's brain too?
That's what I was wondering. It's a little like Kanye to me.
I think it's from when he did that poop do scoop dance. Like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's Kanye. But
looking like a Kanye.
And then Janelle can't take it anymore. It's too many tweets for her. So she says, if the shoe fits, bitch, but wasn't talking about you, but I see I stay on your mind.
And our girl Kinley says, I'll wear the shoes, at least someone wears clothes.
And Janelle claps back with 2 fingers. Girl, your man was over here pimping you out on OnlyFans last year.
And then our girl comes back and she says, if you miss your ex, just say that, with the Katy Perry.
And then Janelle posts, speaking of clothes, and she posted, I mean, it's blurred, but she posts some kind of like a nudish of her, which you guys can't see from my phone anyways. But in this nude of her where she's all blurred, she's got the dirtiest bottoms of her feet, which, the internet's going to come for you on those kinds of things. So you better make sure your feet's washed. I mean, if you're just sending this to a guy, it's whatever. They don't care. But
on the white couch, honestly, disgust.
Yeah, that's what all the comments went on this photo. My feet are dirty a lot too. I walk around barefoot a lot, but you won't catch me posting my dirty feet online.
That
especially if I'm naked.
Fetish for some people. I wonder if that was the point.
Oh gosh. Anyways, well, Janelle's talking about this girl being shared on OnlyFans, but wasn't David also pimping her out on OnlyFans? So like, what's the difference here?
I don't know. That brings us to the next thing that Janelle said.
Yep, and Janelle said, and your man was the one taking all my photos. So,
and Kinley says, forced to, kind of like you forced yourself to be a mother.
And that chit chat should go on a plaque.
It should.
That was the craziest clack back I've ever seen someone give Janelle. That was just the best.
I know.
And Janelle couldn't even respond to it. She only responded to a fraction of it. She says, forced for this ass? I don't think so. Ask him about it.
Kenley says, photos are trash. Here's my card.
You know what? I don't even know or care what provoked that, but I loved every second of it. Janelle just can never sit there and use reading comprehension to understand what people are saying to her. She has just been told that she is forcing herself to pretend to be a mother, and she's not even acknowledging that. And then right now, she's going hard for Nathan. He's in this DV situation right now, which who knows if it's true or not. I don't know, but I mean, Nathan's been in a million of these before, so I won't put it past him.
It sounds like something happened for sure.
Yeah, Janelle's going out of her way to get him a lawyer and help him out of the situation. And she even says at one point she's single right now and how Nathan can help her out with the kids or with Kaiser. And I'm like, isn't this a rumor that's going around about you right now, girl? Is that you don't take care of your own kids and that's why you have these mannies coming in and out your life?
It's true. It's very true. And she doesn't even take a second to think about the potential risks or bad outcomes that could happen with a whole ass domestic abuser coming into your home to play Manny for an undetermined period of time.
Well, and I hear she drinks, and this man, once he gets around alcohol, is when he
likes to choke women. So let's not be involved in that. And honestly, if you do not have the mental capacity at this point, after dealing with what you just dealt with Jace and your ex-husband, to recognize that Jace himself will act like a grown man when needed to be a grown man. And if you invite violence into your home and you think that your son, even if he hates you, is not going to step in between you and somebody else and put himself at risk, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. And so you are naturally putting Jace at risk just by allowing the potential for violence to go down in your home.
Not even just that, but the modeling of that behavior is all Jace might ever know. And then down the line, Jace could start abusing people. It's not that far-fetched.
Yeah.
Especially if it's people like Nathan who tends to strangle people, and we got David who tends to hurt people as well, and off animals and things like that. Like but these kids, with all they're around is violence. I've heard Ensley's really clingy, and like a lot of them have these issues,
weird personality issues. Yeah,
I feel bad for these kids. I feel like she's another one of those that should have had an adoption story, but she's just too Janelle to do it.
PB and Janelle.
PB and Janelle. Man, I mean, a lot's been going on with her right now. I know she also recently had to call the police on Jace for some things going on over there. So there's lot.
Rumors going on, though, that she called the police on Jace this last time so that they would pick him up so that she could go out for the weekend, because she did end up going out that weekend. I don't know, but
this lady has to be doing all the. I mean, this is my theory, okay? My theory, my hypothesis. This lady's got to be doing this to get back on Teen Mom. Like, look what you're missing out on. You have all these lame storylines, and look what I got going on.
Truly. So true. Right? Well, they did say that right now a lot of the pause in production could have a lot to do with contract negotiations, and that a lot of the cast was not happy with the way that the story in general was going. A source said that they filmed a whole lot for this season, and that a lot of the stuff that the cast thinks would be entertaining for us to watch was not actually covered. We just saw
I feel like that happens a lot, doesn't it?
I'm sure that happens a lot, but it seems like maybe that's happening more and more. It seems like they're really not sure what direction they want to go, because they've taken Janelle on and off, and they introduced Mackenzie and kind of started going in that direction. And not that they can't follow all these girls, but to take people on and off, and then to have Amber, and now to let her go. And not that I'm mad about that, but it just feels really inconsistent. Teen Mom was always like, we're trying to prevent teen pregnancy. We're trying to talk about birth control. There was always like a point, and it just doesn't seem like there's a cohesive.
They used to only have 4 people on each episode. They were filtering through 4 different people, so it was a lot more of a cohesive storyline, and you actually got conclusions to each storyline almost week to week. And now they have to either wrap up a storyline in an episode, or it's like their storyline for the whole season. Yeah,
like with Jay, there's completely probably going to be no continuity this season between the last time we saw her with her mom and now when she's about to have a baby, except for probably a quick voiceover that says, I haven't talked to my mom since all that happened, but I missed my period. It's just going to be that, and then we're going to go to the next thing.
Honestly, I mean, this is already your passion project, and you're not getting the views, and you have all this footage. You might as well just air it.
I agree. They used to do the, like the unedited kind of cuts sometimes after the reunion. They would have a whole special
unseen moments,
unseen moments and that kind of thing. I also heard rumors that they might be getting pushed over to Paramount Plus and not be on cable anymore.
They don't need to be.
If they went to Paramount Plus, they might have more flexibility in what they can cover. I don't know.
I think it'd be better for them, because they're not getting the views anyways. If they're going to continue, you might as well just go straight to streaming, because you actually might get a more accurate read too. I mean, I'm sure they also count the streaming views, but if you're only streaming and that's your only way to stream, then it'll be a lot more accurate for you, I would think. But I don't know. Either way.
Thanks for sticking it out with us, Chick Chatters. I know it's been a long one, but I hope it was as entertaining for you as it was for us.
We have fun here. But remember to subscribe. We do have a new subscriber goal of 900, and we're getting very close to it.
It's the 900.
Just help us out.
Just the 900. So also give the video a like and comment. I know we talked about it a lot this episode, so definitely let us know how you feel. And don't forget to click the share button and copy the link for us.
All right. That's all. We will catch you on the next one. Chick Chat. Reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna, and goodbye.
Goodbye.